I decided to try to start making videos about comics. I'm not really sure where to start, so I guess I'll just tell you how I entered into comics, which has really only been in this past year or so. So hopefully this can provide some insight into the mind of a comics noob. Or maybe it'll just be a waste of time. We'll see. Okay, so I've been interested in superheroes since I watched the Justice League cartoon with my dad when I was probably around like 5. And I didn't really get into the more seriously into the superhero universe until I started watching the X-Men cartoons, especially the 90s one, which my cousin introduced me to, and that show is awesome along with the theme song, especially the theme song. Okay, so the X-Men cartoons is what drew me into comics more somewhat. So here's a little factoid about me. I'm the type of person who likes to just know random things, so I can spit it out at people, so I can regurgitate it to other people. So I like going on wikis and learning to learn about stuff. And one of the things that I would do a lot was look up comic book characters and sometimes events to kind of understand what was going on. So that was one way that I spent my time. And it wasn't until my early teens that I started to get into YouTube, and then I mostly watched internet reviewers. So Linkara was one of my first doorways to actually reading comics in a removed way, but still. So that's fun. It was an experience watching the Medicare video on him. Oh well, I can still enjoy his content for the most part, though I haven't seen it in a while. Okay, so let me get back on track. I jumped onto the Marvel movie bandwagon when the first Avengers released. My dad and I ate pizza and caught up on all the other movies the weekend before it came out, and that was so much fun. I absolutely loved it. I hadn't seen the others partially due to me not wanting to see PG-13 movies until I was 13, because I'm a weird kid who's a stickler for the rules. Or, I guess I was. Am I still a kid? Oh well, whatever. It's technicality. Okay, so for 6 years, I just stuck to the wikis and YouTube videos and TV shows, and occasionally read an article or something to collect my comics info so that I could try to be the best know-it-all that I can be. But it wasn't, and then eventually I saw trailers for Logan, and I'm like, that was kind of what got me to actually start reading comics. So basically, I saw X-23 in the trailer, and I've always been kind of really, okay, I'm not sure if it's quite to this level, but basically, the trailer reignited my dormant obsession with the character, and I went around the web trying to find more information. I eventually found all new Wolverine pictures of the, I guess, Tumblr rights for posting or whatever, and also along with clips from older comics that I couldn't always identify where they were from. And I started reading all the small clips that I could find. So, a short time after seeing Logan, I headed to my local comic book shop to try to buy all new Wolverine. First, I was a little bit confused on what I should do, and I just kind of stood there awkwardly, and it's and I saw all new Wolverine, the most recent one. It was it's third arc at the time. Give me a sec. Okay, the one in Madripoor. I'm wasting time with this, but I want to remember what it's called. Enemy of the State. Enemy of the State 2. That's the storyline that I was in the middle of. But I wanted to start at the beginning. So I was I'm not sure what to do, but luckily my local comic shop has awesome people working there, and I was introduced to the concept of trades. Yes, I didn't know what a trade was until 2017. Because I'm dumb. So I just bought trades for a while after that, and X-23, the complete collection, still my favorite after these 8, 12, it's almost been a year. It's been several months, but since I don't have an income of my own, I could really only get a trade, like, for doing especially well in school and, like, end of the quarter type stuff, or if I finished a project early. So, yeah. And eventually I started picking up individual comics. My first one was Edge of Venomverse #2. And then my sneaky little self, I decided, okay, I know how I figured out a way that I can get weekly comics and my parents would be okay with it. So I said, hey, for every hour of homework that I do, can I earn half the minimum wage? Just so I can do a budget for this, for my comics. And they're like, okay, if it motivates you for school. So that's what I got to do. And yes, I know I am a spoiled brat. So currently I'm still living off the money still left over from that arrangement, but I really need to find some kind of part-time job or something, which hopefully I will do soon. So one other thing I wanted to discuss was like some comics YouTubers, because this video wasn't disorganized enough and random, but I just wanted to say, now I watch like Diversity in Comics when I'm trying to figure out which series to try out, along with like my morbid curiosity perking up for things like Marvel Rising. I really only pick those up if I'm feeling especially masochistic those days. But I first stumbled across DNC like I think last July, and it was that Captain Marvel video that hooked me. And so thanks to DNC, I got to get some laughs through cringe through books like America, Squirrel Girl, Black Panther, and The Crew, and of course the antics of various professional, with air quotes, comics creators. But I also got to learn about some good stuff, like Gwenpool, which I think generally it got tainted by its association with Heather Antos, but I love Beyond the Fourth Wall arc, the Beyond the Fourth Wall arc so much, partially because it actually like played with the medium of comics, and it just got me more excited to learn more about it, about the comics and about comics in general, if that makes any sense. But okay, so where was I? Okay, DNC also introduced me to Nurkish, who for some reason you found me before you found him, which is weird. What are you doing on YouTube? But go and watch him. He's absolutely hilarious if you can handle somewhat offensive comedy. He's great. And another guy who's better than me, in addition to DNC and Nurkish, is Just Some Guy. Like, I recommend starting off with this Black series, because it's both humorous and insightful, and it's awesome. And I don't know what else to say. So I guess that's like the basic summary of how I got into comics. It seems like I chose like the worst possible time, with like the SJW infestation, the struggles of Comic Skate. But maybe I came in at this point for a reason. Maybe I can change things for the better. Or maybe I really do just have terrible luck. So, oh well. Thanks for listening if you got this far. I'd appreciate some feedback, especially the negative stuff, because I think that would probably be more helpful. But actually, if you could say a nice thing too, that would be great, so you don't completely crush my fragile, silly little ego. Okay. I'm super awkward, if you couldn't tell by the end, by going through this video. So yeah. Thanks. I'm the Novice Nerd, and hopefully I'll update soon. So, yeah, thanks. Bye.